Welcome back into Wake Up America. I'm Rob Finnerty. President Biden visiting the southern border for the very first time ever yesterday in what his own press secretary called a logical layover during the president's trip to Mexico City. That's where he is today. Texas Governor Greg Abbott handed the president a letter when he touched down in El Paso. That letter read in part, quote, "Your visit to our southern border today is $20 billion too little and 2 years too late. Moreover, your visit avoids the sites where mass illegal immigration actually occurs." Joining us now for reaction, former acting CBP commissioner and Heritage Foundation visiting fellow Mark Morgan. Mark, good morning. Good to see you on this Monday. I hate to turn a positive trip into a negative. Republicans have been asking the president to visit the border for the last 2 years. But I think the question, and a lot of people, including Border Patrol agents, are asking this, is now what? What was your reaction to the trip yesterday?
Yeah, Rob, look, I think we share something similar here that, look, the president, I'm glad he went. I mean, the president is where exactly he should be. I think the American people deserve and demand and want a president to go down and see firsthand when we have a catastrophic crisis that's impacting every aspect of our nation's safety and national security. But I also think the critics like Governor Abbott are spot on, too, and justified in their criticism with respect to it's a little too late and a little too little. Because this isn't like a natural disaster. This is a disaster that was self-inflicted. This administration, this president created this disaster. So again, I think the criticism is valid. What I am concerned about is now, okay, now the so what? What's going to happen now? He's been there. Is anything going to change? That's what is yet to be seen. But I'm very skeptical, Rob.
Mark, what was your reaction to the really sanitized version of the city of El Paso that the president actually saw? If you want him to change policy, you've got to show him what it is really like down there every day, what we've been reporting on for the last 2 years. So basically, they cleaned up homeless camps. They cleaned up the streets. They did this when I graduated from high school. They planted all new plants, flowers, mulched the beds. They painted buildings and rooms. And I was like, well, why didn't they do that the 4 years I was in school here? Shouldn't they have given the president an accurate portrayal of what it has been like in El Paso for the last couple of years?
Absolutely, Rob. I couldn't have said it better myself. Look, and he also, the NGO shelter that he went to had no migrants in it. That's incredulous. Again, Governor Abbott's criticisms is spot on here. And look, the president this week in his speech, too, he went on and on about how he's blaming Republicans, which is just absolutely a blatant lie and filled with hypocrisy. Because where were the Republicans on this trip? Not a single Republican politician was on the trip. Governor Abbott had to fly down there at the last minute because he got a call from the Biden staffer saying, hey, you can join him on the tarmac if you want to. But there was no substantive discussion between the president and Governor Abbott. And Governor Abbott oversees over 1,200 miles of shared border with Mexico and the United States of the 2,000 on the southwest border. It's incredulous that President Biden didn't spend a tremendous amount of time one-on-one with the governor actually engaging him. In fact, not only did that not happen, but Biden's own DHS Secretary Mayorkas went on attacking Governor Abbott.
Yeah, Tony Gonzalez, by the way, who's been on Wake Up America several times, congressman, represents El Paso, represents the largest border district in America. He was deliberately excluded from the trip. He was not invited to something taking place in his own district. The El Paso Times writing that Biden essentially caved to pressure from Republicans to go to the border. How much of the visit, though, Mark, do you think was really about 2024? Biden might announce he's running for president next month. How much of this might have been about getting his ducks in a row before he announces again? Because now we can say, hey, I went to the border.
Yeah, Rob, look, you know, you and I have been talking for a long time. I hate to go down to the pure political arena here. But look, I think you can draw no other conclusion. I mean, you just had Governor Newsom in California go to the border for the first time in his Armani shoes. You've got Democrats that have been out there saying, hey, this is a crisis. I think he was forced to. I don't think he wanted to go down there. I think he was told he had to go down there. And that's a big difference. And now the proof is in the pudding. But look, he did engage reporters when he was down there. There was no substantive engagement at all. But when the reporters shouted a couple of questions out, one of his response was exactly what we would expect, Rob. He said, well, I was told they need a lot more resources. Yeah, of course. You're never going to hear anybody on the front line saying they need less resources.
Right.
But make no mistake, Rob, that's not the issue here. They have the same amount of resources they had under the Trump administration before this catastrophe on the southwest border. This is a policy issue at the end of this president's pen.
And I think the trip, Mark, was set up to fall short of expectations. Karine Jean-Pierre from the White House on Friday literally said that this was a logical layover, that it made sense to stop at the border on his way to Mexico City, where he is today. What a slap in the face, not only Border Patrol agents down there along the border, but also the thousands of people that live along the Texas-Mexico border.
Yeah, Rob, look. Exactly. And that's another thing. I think the optics of him actually flying over our border to Mexico and not stopping,
right.
I think that's a large reason. Again, I think he was told he had to. He had no choice. There was no way he could literally fly over our border into Mexico and not stop. So yeah. I think your points are valid. I think it is insulting. And again, I think that's why we're not going to see anything substantively change from this meeting.
All right. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out heading into 2024. Mark Morgan, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks, Rob.